Steve Smith here again, your CAD Tech Guru. This is going to be the third and final video that I'm going to do for the creation of the site plan. Very basic tutorial. So we've already covered everything except for the annotations, which is the notes and dimensions and things like that. For this example, it really doesn't take long to do. I'm going to show you a couple of little tricks in there along the way that I use to speed the process up. So be sure and give me a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to my page if you haven't done so already. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, one of the first things that I want to do here is count all of the parking spaces. Now I have a key that I've created. I'm just going to drag that in and insert it. It's got an attribute assigned into it. I'm working at a 1 inch equals 60 foot scale, so I'm bringing those in at an appropriate size to scale on the page, and I'll usually just drop that right into a space like that. Now one trick that I use to count these parking spaces is just basically to use the move command. So I'm going to move, and then I'm going to pull a fence across all of these. And when I do that, you can see down here it found 21 objects when I hit move. So I'm just going to hit escape and not finish moving. So I know if there's 21 lines, then one more than 21, which is 22, is going to be the number of spaces. So I know there's 22 spaces here. So I just double click my block and assign 22 to the attribute. So I can do the same thing here. Copy one of these down, stick it in there, and then here I'll just use the move command. This time I'm going to use a fence, and it's finding 27 down here in the bottom, so I know there's 28 spaces. 28. So let's copy that over here. I can use my aperture to line that up and tell that those are the same amount, so I know there's 28 there. So along here, move, it's finding 13, so my number is going to be 14. And of course this one's going to be the same. Alright, so let's copy this over to this side. Move. There's 12, so there's going to be 13. I'm going to copy it over here, and that is the same as the other side, so I know that's going to be 13. So I'm going to copy this down here. Let's see, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 down here, and then across here. Move. There's 18 here. So that goes pretty quick. I believe that's all of them. Alright, now I have a dimension style for doing the property lines that suppresses all of the dimension lines and all of that stuff, and it also puts it into a decimal format so it looks more like a like a surveyor's way of dimensioning. So the way I'm going to go about doing that, I've got a layer for the pins. So on every corner, I'm going to draw a circle with a 36-inch radius. And just put that on all 4 corners to represent where that dimension is going to stop. And then I've got a style. I'm going to type in dim style. And I've got this one that I call property dims. And I'm going to set my scale. Dim scale, I set mine to 60 feet. And then I'm just going to use a dimension across the area, and you can see it gets rid of all of it suppresses all of the extra lines that a dimension normally has, and it puts it in decimal format. So we'll go around and do that on all these 4 sides here. And again, this is a very simple example, so most of the time there's a little more to it than this, but that gives you an idea of how to do the property dimensions. Okay, now for interior dimensions, a lot of the times we'll have setbacks and easements and those sorts of things that we'll label, but in this case we don't have any of that. So here what we're going to do is just put dimensions, just regular dimensions on the green spaces, just to show how far our parking is set back. So I'm going to go to my dim style and just set it to my standard tick dimension, and then dim scale 60 feet, and I'm just going to go right in here and put a dimension in there, and then I like to just pull these out to the side and draw an arc to show a dimension sort of like that. So on the front, you know, pick a good spot and just pull it up here like that, something like that, and we'll just carry that on around, and just do your best to try to make it look clean so that it's easy to read. Do another one like this, and that's all of those. Now while I'm in this style of dimensioning, I usually put one across here to show the 24-foot drive aisle. You can double click that and just go down to the next line and write typical, which basically just means all the drive aisles are 24 feet. Now I'm going to use some D-text here. The height I'm going to specify as 72, and then the rotation of 0, and I'm just going to call this Main Street. And since this is a street dimension, usually the property designation and the streets I will change to a larger text style. So I'm going to go in and change that to large, and then I'm going to copy this up here and call this Lot 1. That pretty much sums up the dimensioning. Again, if there's easements, you would use just normal D-text and then use a leader to point to your easements or setbacks, that kind of thing. But for the most part, that's the biggest part of the you know, there's actually one more thing that we could do, and that's we'll do some D-text here, going like this, and I'll just say 9 foot by 18 foot typical spaces. And I'm using a leader that is an arc leader, so you can use really whatever type of leader you have available to you, but we'll use these and put that in there and point to a couple spaces, and that sums it up. So that's the annotation, basic annotation. I hope this video was helpful to you. Again, be sure and give me a thumbs up, and please remember to subscribe to my page for upcoming videos. Thank you.